Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the automated integration workflow between the DSCO retail network and Acumatica. Moving your data manually is painfully slow and super risky. So, we're going to look at how setting up a properly configured integration takes all that pressure off, letting your data just flow automatically. Setup and order settings. This is all about establishing that secure connection and setting up your default processing rules. So setup begins right inside the Acumatica environment, where a DSCO Integrator workspace pops up. You'll just punch in your specific DSCO access token and the base web address for the DSCO service. Then you simply hit the Test Credentials button. And there it is. You get that super satisfying green check mark telling you the credentials are valid. Once that link is validated, boom, your store is officially linked, and we are ready to configure how the whole system actually behaves. Once we're connected, we navigate over to the Order Settings tab. And honestly, you get an incredible level of control right out of the gate here. This is exactly where you configure how those incoming DSCO orders get translated into your ERP. For example, if you look under Default Import Options, you can choose to import DSCO orders directly as a sales order. Basically, you're telling the system, hey, when an order drops in from Nordstrom or another big retailer, this is exactly what it needs to look like in our system. Let's break down those key configuration choices just a bit more. As an administrator, you've got to specify those default order types, but you also need to map the exact DSCO statuses. So you're telling Acumatica how to recognize when a DSCO order is created or canceled. And here is a totally crucial point. You get to determine if orders will auto-acknowledge. We all know retailers watch acknowledgement times incredibly closely, so automating this, absolute game changer. You also set up your automatic invoice and shipment export rules, deciding if those exports should trigger during the prepare or release invoice process. Item and warehouse mapping. This is where we align those independent system data structures. Looking at the Cross-Reference tab, the system lets you map distinct DSCO warehouse codes directly to your internal Acumatica warehouse IDs. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, if a retailer sends an order that needs to be fulfilled from, say, your West Coast facility, this mapping makes absolutely sure the stock is pulled from that exact, accurate physical location in your ERP. No manual routing required and nothing airs out. It just works. In that same vein, we have to align the inventory and customer data. Inventory items are matched using specific SKUs in the cross-reference setup. This links the retailer's product code straight to the right Acumatica inventory item. Plus, you can assign default customers. Since retail channel orders usually arrive without a specific named end buyer in the traditional sense, assigning a default customer ensures every single order is booked correctly in your accounting and sales records. The automated order flow. Let's look at the daily operational sequences for acknowledgements and fulfillment. Let's step through the daily sequence and see how this all builds together. First off, DSCO orders are imported, which you can do either in bulk or one by one. Second, the PO acknowledgement gets transmitted right back to the retailer. Third, as Acumatica processes the physical fulfillment, the connector automatically fires off the shipment confirmation and tracking numbers back to DSCO. And finally, when you release the invoice in Acumatica, it sends that invoice across and efficiently updates the DSCO order status to shipped on the retailer's end. Every single update the retailer is waiting on happens completely seamlessly. But hey, flexibility is key, right? For orders that aren't configured to auto-acknowledge in your initial settings, administrators use this specific Export DSCO PO acknowledgement screen. It's essentially a dedicated workspace to confirm receipt manually. You can check the boxes to acknowledge individual orders or just hit Export All to handle the whole shebang in bulk. This keeps you in total control if you kind of prefer a human touch at the acknowledgement phase. Managing order cancellations.
Synchronizing exception handling across platforms. You know, when a full order needs to be canceled, it really doesn't have to be a messy manual update. It's processed right through this Export DSCO Canceled Orders screen. Check out the DSCO cancel code column on the right side there. You just pick the matching codes like CXSO right from your sales order in Acumatica. The integration then fires this cancellation over to DSCO automatically, so your retailer's system stays perfectly in step with yours without skipping a beat. So the really crucial point here is how the system handles the granularity of these cancellations. The integration logically separates them. Full order cancellations go through the process we just talked about. But what if a customer only cancels one single shirt out of a 5-item order? Well, the system directs single line item cancellations to be processed through a completely distinct Export DSCO Order Item Canceled screen. This is a lifesaver because it ensures you aren't accidentally wiping out a whole order when literally only a fraction of it changed. Synchronizing live inventory, maintaining accurate stock availability for retailers. This is arguably the most important step to prevent the absolute cardinal sin of retail, overselling. To keep retailers from ordering what you simply do not have, we use the Export DSCO Inventory Quantities screen. You'll notice how it pairs your Acumatica inventory IDs and SKUs directly with your current stock levels. By just checking the boxes and hitting Sync or Sync All, you get direct, real-time synchronization back up to the DSCO network. The stock they see online is the exact stock you actually have sitting right there on the shelves. Administrators have some incredible control over this output logic. You can choose to automatically publish your live, combine totals across all your selected warehouses, but you also have the power to transmit specific manual quantities. Well, it gives you the strategic ability to hold back reserve stock. Say you have 100 units, but you only want to expose 80 to the retail channel, just to play it safe. This logic allows you to do exactly that. So, when we pull back and look at the whole picture here, a properly configured integration establishes a completely seamless data flow. Retail orders flow in, acknowledgements, shipments, tracking, invoices, and live inventory all flow back out. Your team is no longer stuck manually rekeying data across two completely different portals. Instead, your supply chain operations are empowered to meet those strict, super fast-paced retailer deadlines without the frantic manual scramble. Ultimately, the Biz-Tech DSCO Connector makes Acumatica and DSCO work seamlessly as one unified system. Thanks so much for watching this explainer. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more Acumatica content, and jump right into your system to start configuring today.